only saw it because it was on Netflix. I don't know if it's still on Netflix.
Oh yeah, the next
mutation or something.
Yes,
it's called that. And I only watched it because my son wanted to watch it because he saw it on. Then he's like, "Ooh, Turtles! I want to watch Turtles." So we put that on, and I'm like, "What the hell is this crap?" I'm like, "Whoa, we need to turn this shit off. I'll put it in the movie right now. We can watch Turtles. We can watch the real Turtles."
It's painful, right?
It is, and you can definitely tell it's a TV show.
Yeah.
It just looks. The suits look shitty. I mean, the only reason I kept watching it was because it's Ninja Turtles, but even then it was kind of hard to watch. And I was like, oh, and you can see the eye holes underneath their masks.
Oh, you can?
You can see it like big time. They don't even try to hide it. And it's like you're going to like Chuck E. Cheese and you're just seeing the guy. You can see the guy's face through the mesh in his mouth or his eyes or whatever. Oh man, it's just bad. They have like some weird gorilla guy who lives in the sewer, and like they fight him. He said he wears like a suit. He's supposed to be like, oh my god, it's so bad. He's like a mobster. He's like a. He wears like a suit and like a hat, and he talks like he's from New York. He's like, oh, we got to get these turtles. That's exactly how he sounds, and it's just horrible. And he walks around like all of his henchmen have suits on, like they're like old timey bank robbers. Like, man, we're gonna get them. We want to get these turtles, and that's how they all talk. And they have like cheesy ass mustaches, and oh my god, it's so bad. Oh, yeah. What did you think of the series?
Well, when it came out, I was super young.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it, and I was just stoked that they had this was when they introduced a girl turtle.
Yeah, she was like a light blue.
The only time that they ever tried to do this. And so I was always stoked on that. I can remember... this was a big part of for that year that it didn't last very long for obvious reasons. But I remember Fox Kids, they had I was subscribed to the magazine, and I remember getting the magazine and having the Ninja Turtles be on the cover and stuff. So I was stoked on that. But yeah, I tried to watch the show recently again, and I couldn't sit. It's so hard to sit through.
Yeah.
Just like the voice acting,
the voices
and the suits, and just like what? Did you ever see the crossover episode where they meet the Power Rangers?
No, I haven't, but I know what you're talking about. I've seen screenshots of it recently on Instagram.
I think it's the Ninja Turtles get brainwashed and they go and they fight. They have to fight the Rangers.
Don't they fight like the Space Rangers?
Yes.
Okay.
Because the Power Rangers had already went through I don't know if it was Power Rangers Turbo maybe or one of those early Zeo.
Yeah.
Maybe Zeo. I don't know. I can't remember what season they were in, but I always thought that was interesting that they did that crossover.
It was cool. That's a cool idea.
It's too bad it was for those turtles.
Series.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was a misstep.
Yeah.
For TMNT.
Yep, you can say that.
And that pushes us through to 2003 when they brought back the animated series, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it was the more kind of serious version of them where they're all buff.
They're all buff, right? They're all swole.
Yeah, and I didn't really have a problem with that one.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one. I remember watching it I think watching it when I came home from school, I think.
And it lasted for quite a while.
For a while, yeah. That was actually pretty fun. I don't remember too much about the storyline and what happened, but...
But that's the thing, is that they don't ever venture off too much. It's pretty much just rehashings of what we've already seen.
Yeah.
They just retell. It's like they reinvent the Turtles and then they tell their stories over again. Like, a lot of the villains stay the same, but they'll just reinvent the villains. Like they changed like the aesthetic up the show, but the show still remains the same, and it has throughout all these different kind of reinventions, I guess. Yeah, which is very interesting. Do you have any what's your perspective on why they've tried to bring them back so much? Or what do you think?
I just feel like
being because I'm not a dad, but you're a dad.
Yeah, I feel like they have to reinvent them, I guess, for new generations to kind of.
But why do you think they don't bury this idea and start something new? You know what I mean? Just like Power Rangers and like Rugrats and things like that. Like Ninja Turtles have always kind of been around. Yeah. And even when how do you say, there's been like this explosion of, it's not just like Ninja Turtles, not just the new Ninja Turtles. Now everybody loves like the classic, the cartoon. You know what I mean? Like you can go and you can find like these vintage like looking Ninja Turtles like pouches or shirts and all this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like even at Walmart and everything Ninja Turtles is so accessible now. Yeah. And why do you think that is?
I feel like maybe they think, there's still a market for it, and for that I don't know why there's such a huge market for it, only because the kids who saw it back then are adults now, and they're kind of either like forcing their kids onto watch this Ninja Turtles, I'm gonna make my kid.
So it's like a domino effect.
I think so, because I'm not making my son watch Ninja Turtles, I'm not forcing him to do it, but I'll just be like, hey, you want to watch this cool thing? And I'll be like, I used to watch this when I was little like you, and then he'll be like, okay, I want to see, and then so he'll watch it.
So it's like a familiarity thing.
Yeah, and I think it's a way. The reason it's been going on for so long is because parents push it to their kids, so they feel like they can have something in common with their kids, even if they're little children right now. Growing up, once they grow up, they'll probably do the same thing, and they'll be like, "Hey, my dad showed me this, or my mom showed me this, and I'm gonna show my kids this." But the reason that I feel like that's the reason why it's been around for so long, because people hold it in such a
high regards,
that they want to push it onto their kids, because they feel like, I turned out all right from the Ninja Turtles, why I watched these things, so I'm going to have my kid watch these, so he turns out, hopefully, a good kid, or, a good adult or whatever. Yeah. But, that's the reasoning I feel that it's been around for so long, and the reason that they kind of... well, what do you think that they keep on, why do you think this new series that's coming out is totally different?
Well, I think they're trying to, they try to reinvent them, but keep, that formula kind of the same, right? So they're trying to change it up so it doesn't seem, I guess, like they're just trying to keep this thing going, but they're not trying to do something new, right? So they try to keep the formula, which is the Turtles and Splinter, and how do you say, they're... So when I was younger, this is how I'll explain it. So I never really had a dad, right? Like a father figure. Yeah. And I feel like the Turtles and Splinter kind of taught me wrong from right. A lot of my moral compass comes from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah. Which is kind of weird to say, but yeah, I feel like that's how some kids grow up. Yeah. Kids who don't have parents, they learn their morals from something else. And that's why, because I think the Ninja Turtles at its core is they were always how do you say, drenched in positivity. You know what I mean? And they're the heroes, and that's why they have all these posters don't do drugs and stuff like that, and they use the turtles as kind of mascots of that, as positivity, you know what I mean, and they stand for what's good, and you know what I mean, they're kind of misinterpreted as these monsters, and so they have to kind of hide in the shadows, but at their core they have good hearts, you know what I mean, and So I think that's that core element is what keeps them being reinvented and from all these different aspects. And where can we go with the story, and how can we kind of freshen this up and bring them back? And I think that's why they lasted so long. Much like Power Rangers. Power Rangers at the end of the day. Even Dragon Ball Z, it's like that universal good against evil. And evil, evil's always gonna fall, short of good. You know what I mean? And it's all, it's just them pushing that, try to be like the best that you can and a good person. You know what I mean? So that's my opinion on why.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Where are we in the timeline? So we talked about the kind of more serious animated, and that brings us. In between that, I think, or maybe a little earlier, they did they went on tour, which is another live action thing. Did you hear about that?
I think I remember something about it, but I should refresh my memory.
They released music, and a video, I think, and they went on a actual tour with people in suits. They came out and they played music on stage.
Oh, nice.
And it ranged from like rock to like hip hop stuff, and they just sing about pizza and fighting dudes. And they had this whole like kind of battle with the foot on stage. So it was kind of like Broadway mixed with music. I had that tape, so that's another thing that I watched.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, if you watch, you can check that out on YouTube. I'm pretty sure
you can,
or iTunes. They have the soundtrack, I think. But that was very interesting. Marketing. I think they play it on the rooftop of Radio City Music Hall too. You can check that out. Somebody actually, I posted this on my story last night. They, I've watched this for years, but they edited that footage of them singing on the stage, or like some footage from their tour together, and they edited it under a song from Throwdown, which is an old school hardcore band. And they like put, so it looks like they're playing this like like doing like hardcore swing and shit. It's hard to explain, but you got to look it up. It's called Teenage Mutant Ninja Hardcore Turtles. I think on YouTube. Check it out, man. It's some fun. Fun stuff.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
But moving on, we had the 2012 Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Once Nickelodeon bought them around that same time, they bought all the rights for like some couple $1 billion or something like that. Which is, what do you think about that? See, now we're moving into, we're going out of our generation and into your son's generation.
Yeah, and he actually is a big fan of this series.
Because that's what he knows. Much like what we knew is like the first movie and what have you. He knows this TV show.
Exactly. I mean, it's pretty funny. I watch it with him. I think, like we said, they actually ended that series
just recently, right?
That run or whatever it is, and they're coming out with the new one that we just briefly talked about. But this one definitely is very kiddie. There's a lot of.
It's kind of it's like 3D, right?
It's like a I'm trying to think, like a.
Is it CGI?
It's like CGI, but it's like cartoony CGI. So like there's like thick black lines around them and stuff, so it looks cartoony, but it's more
almost 3D. Like pop art.
Yeah,
right.
And it's pretty funny. They really make Michelangelo like he's addicted to like pizza and stuff. He just goes crazy for it. They have a whole bunch of different like storylines for that series. Like they go into space and there's like alternate timelines and dimensions where like they mess up the timeline and they have to go back. And then they're in space and they fight like aliens. And
I know they have a lot of villains